Welcome to another episode of the Clueless Dude's Real Tool Reviews. Today, I'm not so much doing a review as much as an unboxing. And the reason for that is this. Walmart selling for $149 a 20-volt Hart Brushless Tool Kit. If you look on your screen, it's the one on the left with the word brushless highlighted. I added the highlighting, not the one on the right that does not say brushless. So just to be clear, we're looking at the brushless toolkit. The reason why I'm picking this one is it looks like it'd be a good first 20-volt toolkit for someone who's just starting out and is getting the first set of power tools. The Hart line is above Hyper Tough, but it's still cheaper than the stuff you get maybe from some of the home improvement stores. So I thought it'd be a good thing to do an unboxing on so you can decide if it's right for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Clueless Dude's Real Tool Reviews. Today is not so much a review as much as a box opening, which I generally don't do. So let's open this up and see what's came inside. And again, as a rule, I generally don't do these kind of box openings. It's not really my thing. People seem to enjoy it, so I figured, why the heck not? And, well, here we have it. Brushless motor delivers more power, longer runtime, more motor life. So that is, I believe, to be a very true statement, the more motor life. And so let's see what we got going on here. And you just set this here off to the side. Alright, and so this should give you a pretty good idea of what's in here. There's really, in my mind, 3 tools and a gimmick. We've got the drill, the impact driver, and the 7 1/4 inch circular saw, and a flashlight. Okay, it's a flashlight. Alright, let's open this up and see what's in here. And it seems to come in a nice little bag. And so I'm going to just take the box, set the box off to the ground here off to the side. And we'll take a look at what's inside the bag here. So the bag, well, it's not bad material. It seems to be half open, but that's okay. We'll open up the rest of the way. And yeah, it is just kind of all thrown in there. So just keep that in mind that once you take this out, I don't know that it's ever going to go back in quite as nice. So I'm going to pull out things and see what's in here. We have the flashlight, which I'm just going to set off to the side. I think we all know how flashlights work. We have a rather small looking impact driver. It looks kind of compact. We'll see how that works out. Again, brushless. We have a battery. And one of the reasons why I got this kit, by the way, was for the battery. The battery is obviously 20 volts, but it's also 4 amp hour. And I thought, get a 4 amp hour battery with the kit, not a bad deal. And again, the price for all of these was approximately the same price within a few dollars of just buying the 7 1/4 inch circular saw by itself. So that's the reason why I went with this kit. Truthfully, I don't need all these tools because I already have kind of duplicates. I already have like a DeWalt drill, and I already have a DeWalt impact driver that's 20 volts. But since I've got them and they were the same price, we'll do some side-by-side comparisons in other videos. Again, brushless, the drill. Inside here, we have another battery. This one is a 20 volt, and it is a 2 amp hour battery. So we have the 4 and the 2 amp hour battery. Pretty cool. And we have here some accessories that we'll look at later. And what I really was getting this for, and again, the other tools were more or less almost, I hate to say freebies, but they were. I mean, this is what I was actually going to buy, was this 7 1/4 inch circular saw. And when I saw that within $1 or $2 I can get an entire kit with other tools, I thought, well, why the heck not? And so here you can see the blade that comes with it. And this is, pretty aggressive blade. For what I'm doing, that might be fine. I may go with something a little bit more teeth. That'll do a little bit less ripping, a little bit cleaner cuts, but pretty awesome. The only thing I could see that might be different is if I got in the circular saw as a standalone piece, I believe it would have come with 2 additional blades. So that would have been like roughly maybe $10 or $20 difference. But there we go. That's what's inside the box here. And we'll look at each tool individually and just go over the basic features. It will not be a full review. I will do separate videos for the full reviews. So I'll do one tool at a time and just show you what each one looks like, just so you can get a general feel if perhaps this kit is for you or not.
Alright, before we look at the tools, let's look at the batteries and charger that came with the kit.
Let's take a look at the batteries that come with it. It comes with 2 batteries and a charger. The charger is pretty standard. This end plugs into the wall. This end accepts the battery. When you slide the battery in, what you're going to see is a flashing green light. When this light up here is flashing green, you know it's charging. When it's solid green, you know that the battery is fully charged. If you remove the battery, there'll be a solid red light just letting you know that the charger is plugged in, but there's no battery. If you see a flashing red light for more than a second or two, you've got a problem with the battery or the charger. Let's slide this off to the side. There are 2 batteries that came in the kit. This one is a 4 amp hour battery, 20 volts, but 4 amp hours, and it's also got a indicator showing you how much of a charge is on the battery. In this case, all the lights are lighting up when I hit the button, so you know it's fully charged. The 2 amp hour battery does not have that, and so yeah, you don't have a way to tell how charged it is just by glancing at the battery. Both of these seem pretty good. For those of you that are not familiar with the difference between these 2 batteries, they're both 20 volt, which means that they're both providing the same voltage, but the amp hours indicate for what length of time they can deliver that 20 volts. So amp hours is the amount of energy stored inside the battery, and the 20 volts is how much push the battery has to drive the tool. In theory, but not in reality, when they're both fully charged, they should drive tools more or less identically. What I've seen from other people's testing is sometimes the 4 amp hour battery will deliver a little bit more power than the 2 amp hour batteries, but I've not tested that myself. But my experience has been just simply that the 4 amp hour batteries last longer than the 2 amp hour batteries before they need to be recharged. Okay guys, I hope that made it clear. Let's go look at the tools.
Alright, let's take a look at the 7¼ inch circular saw and see its basic features.
Alright, let's take a look at what the Hart 7¼ inch circular saw has to offer. I'll be going over its main features, and just a reminder that this is not a full review. This is just a quick and dirty review to help you decide if that $149 toolkit is right for you. So let's take a look at the saw. Well, 7¼ inch saw, as I mentioned. On the front here, we have an adjustment for the bevel that allows you to adjust the angle of the cut from 0 to 56 degrees. If, perchance, when you have it zeroed out, you were to flip this over, and if you were to put a square on the base against the blade and it wasn't actually zeroed out, there is a fine adjustment right here that allows you, right there, that little black bolt and nut, that allows you to adjust the zero setting so that if, when it's zeroed out on the bevel, it's not really zeroed out. You can make some subtle adjustments. I did not have to do that. This one is perfectly zeroed out when I got it. So, in addition to being able to adjust the angle of the cut, you can also adjust the depth of the cut by flipping up this lever. Once that lever is up, you can then raise and lower the base as you see fit. And then once you have the base at a position you want it in, you would then take that lever and you'd push it back down, and that'll lock the base back into place. I think that's kind of cool because that means that there's no tools needed for either the bevel or the depth of the cut, and so that makes cutting pretty easy. There's a trigger right here. That trigger will not move until you press this little blue button to one side or the other. Then the trigger will go in, and when you're done, you release the trigger, and that safety snaps back into place. The battery goes right here. You've noticed the battery's removed, and that's because I'm shooting this video and holding the saw in an awkward manner, and I don't want to cut myself, but I'm holding the saw in an awkward manner for the video, just so I don't get into the shot too much. On the opposite side of where the battery goes, there's the Allen key holder, which is kind of cool. If you got the Allen wrench, and you don't want to lose it, you stick it right in there, and that's the same wrench I used to take the blade on and off. You notice on the back, I have slid into place this vacuum cleaner holder. This is made so your vacuum cleaner hose can attach right here. There's a screw that I don't have in right now that would hold this in place. Both the screw and this plastic piece here that goes to your vacuum cleaner are both inside the accessory bag. That covers the main features of this saw, and I hope that helps you decide if it's right for you. And again, the maximum cutting depth is 2 3/8 of an inch. If you need something bigger than that, you need to, well, get a different kind of saw. Alright guys, I hope this helped.
Before we look at the other tools, let's look at how to install a blade on the circular saw.
Alright, let's take a look at the circular saw. I'm going to start off by putting a blade on it. There is, right here, a little blue switch. When you push that down, it locks the spindle in place so that you can undo the bolt in order to remove the washers to put on a new blade. I have not done this before with this particular saw, so I can take a look here. There's an arrow showing which way to loosen it. Just be advised that certain circular saws have reverse threads on them. This is not one of them. And so I'm going to take off this bolt here. I'm going to remove this outer washer. Being sure to leave this inner washer in. You'll make sure you do not remove that. And then this blade should, theoretically, slide right on here. And again, I have not done this before, so this will give you an idea of how hard this is to do the very first time. It seems to slide right into place. I am taking the outer washer, making sure that the writing on the outside, putting it back in, and then I'm taking this 6mm bolt, putting it back in place, and I will hand tighten it first, and after it's hand tightened, I'll break out the Allen wrench and tighten it down some more. So here is the Allen wrench. I am also, while I'm turning the Allen wrench, I'm going to be pushing this blue button right here on top, this one right here, so that the spindle doesn't spin. I've made it tight, and I'm going to make this a little bit tighter than that, and I think we're good to go. And you'll notice that when I did that, by the way, it's kind of obvious, but I'll say it, the battery is removed. Yeah, don't do that with the battery in place.
Alright, let's take a look at the drill next. It's a 20-volt drill, and in a separate video that'll be linked in the description below, there'll be a comparison of this drill to a DeWalt 20-volt drill and a HyperTough 20-volt drill. Alright, let's take a look at it.
Alright, let's take a look at the drill that came in the kit. It is a 1/2-inch chuck. It takes a standard 20-volt battery from Hart, so any of the 20-volt batteries should fit into it. And it's got a variable speed trigger, a work light that hits just about where the bit and the screw head would come together. It's got a 23 torque settings for screwing things into, let's say, the wall or something like that where you need torque settings, and it's also got an all drill mode where it's just going to push as hard as it can until the motor can't spin no more. It is pretty much, what you expect from a drill. It's got a 2-speed transmission. In setting number 1, it's going to spin a little bit slower but deliver more torque. In setting number 2, it's going to spin a little bit faster but deliver a little bit less torque. It's got a forward and reverse switch, just like any other drill will have. And beyond that, that's pretty much it. It's got a place to hold a bit, so a single bit holder. So that's about it. It feels like it's pretty solid in the hand. It feels like it's a step above the HyperTough, but maybe a step below the DeWalt, just based on feel. We're going to do a side-by-side comparison of all three of them. So coming very shortly after this video, it's going to be a video doing a side-by-side comparison between the HyperTough 20-volt, this 20-volt, and the DeWalt 20-volt Atomic. So that'll give you a quick idea of which one might be right for you. Alright, let's jump over to the impact driver.
Just like with the drill, in a few days there's going to be a video showing a comparison between the HyperTough impact driver, this Hart impact driver, and a 20-volt DeWalt impact driver, so you can see a side-by-side comparison, and again, it should be linked in the description below within a few days. Alright, let's take a look.
Let's take a look at the impact driver. Just like the drill, it takes any of the 20-volt batteries from the Hart series, it goes into the base, just like so. On the side of the impact driver, just like on the drill, you got a forward and reverse switch. When you turn it on, you've got a light that shines about where you expect the bit and the screw head to come together, which is pretty cool. The light, you'll notice, also stays on when the trigger is not pulled, something that I appreciate that I noticed the HyperTough does not do. And it's got a quick release bit, and the way that works is pretty simple, is you grab the outside of the chuck, you take your bit, and you slide it in and release the outside of the chuck, and then it's in there pretty tight. And then to remove the bit, same thing, you push this forward, and you pull the bit right out. And in this case, I'm just going to stick it right back here into the back of the impact driver. So overall, those are the features. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this against the HyperTough 12-volt impact driver, and then also against a 20-volt DeWalt impact driver. And we'll do a side-by-side comparison just to get a feel for the difference between going from, let's say, the 12-volt HyperTough, which is super economy, to this, which is kind of mid-level, and then versus the DeWalt. So if you're a homeowner and you're trying to figure out which impact driver is right for you, look for a video coming out within the next week, and it'll probably be already out by the time you see it, unless you just happen to see this just as it comes out. And you'll see a side-by-side comparison between those three homeowner-ish to entry-level professional impact drivers, and hopefully you'll be able to decide which one's right for you.
Alright, we looked at the main 20-volt tools in this kit. Before we jump to the conclusion section, let's do a quick and dirty review of the flashlight.
Alright, and finally, let's take a look at the flashlight that came with it. I got a 20-volt battery on it, and you can see this is how dark it is with the flashlight off. This is how bright it is with the flashlight on. This flashlight, the head actually swivels, so you can point it upwards. It's just about hitting the ceiling about 3 feet in front of me, and then back down here. And if I point it up here, you can see how it looks. So not too bad. So if you're setting this on the floor, let's say, and you're working, let's say, under a sink, you can swivel this up like this, and you can see that it's shining not quite straight up, but at a slight angle, so that if you're inside, let's say, underneath your kitchen sink, you can light up whatever it is you're working on. Personally, I prefer a headlamp, but this would work okay. One other interesting note, I'm going to flip on the lights here so you can see, And I just put these out so you got something to look at in the light. If I take the standard 2x4, which actually on the side has a 1.5 inch side to it, if we take the light and right here it's 1.5 inches, and it is actually designed to slide in just like that, so that if you're working someplace and you got 2x4s, you can slide this right in here, and then as you can see, the head will pivot as you need. So that's a very quick overview of the flashlight. Hope that helps.
Alright, instead of doing my normal conclusion, I'm just going to do my first impressions because that's what it is. We just unboxed these tools, have not yet fully tested them. I have used similar tools in the past from the Hart line, and based on that, the conclusion I'm going to give, or better yet, the first impressions I'm going to give, are based on a combination of how these tools feel right out of the box and previous testing done with other Hart tools. Alright, let's jump to the conclusion.
So what's my conclusion on the Hart tool? Well, for $149, I think this toolkit is pretty good. It comes with 2 batteries, only 1 charger. That's the only downside, but I think that's okay. The biggest thing for me was I wanted the 7¼ inch circular saw. I'll be testing out that circular saw in great detail in about 2 months. The impact driver and drill I'm going to be testing out in the next few weeks. So if you check the description below, I think, unless you see this just as it comes out, you'll see links coming really soon in the description for the impact driver and the drill. We're going to do side-by-side comparisons to the Hyper Tough and to a DeWalt. And just to give you an idea, I will also remind you this is the brushless versions of the Hart tools. Hart also sells brushed versions, so if you don't see the word brushless in big letters someplace, odds are it's brushed. And there is a difference. The brushless motors tend to last longer, have a little bit more power, a little less drain on the battery for a given task. And so just keep that in mind, that if your local store only seems to have the brushed versions, i.e. doesn't say brushless in big letters, I'd recommend before buying a Hart tool, you hop back home, go to Walmart.com, do a search on Hart toolkits, and see if for the same price or nearly the same price, or in this case actually cheaper, if you can't find a toolkit that's got brushless motors. And if it does, my gut feeling is to always tell people brushless is better than brushed. There may be some exceptions, but my experience has been brushless motors tend to have a little bit more power, and based on testing but other people have done throughout the industry is brushless motors are supposed to last much longer, and you won't be replacing your tools nearly as often. So with that in mind, I always go for brushless motors, especially if the price is close. For entry-level stuff, like when I was doing some of the stuff with Hyper Tough, I didn't care if it was brushless or not. I was only doing some really small projects, and I was also demoing them for homeowners who are just going to put up the occasional plant hanger or picture frame. But if you're going to be using these tools day in and day out, go brushless. Alright guys, I hope this helped. Again, I'm not a professional. This is just based on my limited amount of testing. I have tested tools virtually identical to these from the Hart brand, and I've been happy with them. I will be testing the heck out of the drill and impact driver over the next couple of days, and hopefully in about a week or two you'll get those reviews linked in the description below. And then in a few months I will be reviewing the Hart circular saw. I will tell you, I've used a Hart circular saw, but it was a 6½ inch one, and it seemed pretty good, but we'll be testing the heck out of the 7¼ inch and see how it goes. As far as the flashlight goes, I'll just throw this out there for you. If you need it to light up a workspace, it's fine. If you're going out into the woods, there's probably something better. Alright guys, I'll talk to you all later, and have a great day. And again, I'm a retired guy. Appreciate if you hit that subscribe button, otherwise YouTube will never pay me. And again, this is just for fun. I'm not professional. I'm just a bored homeowner that's recovering from some injuries, and I decided this would be a fun thing to do, is make these videos. Alright guys, have a great day, and thank you for your time.